In the 1980s, Thomas Hearns' chilling stare alone struck fear into his doomed opponents. His sniper-like right hand rarely missed. Nicknamed the Hitman, he delivered dozens of headshots in the ring and became the first man in boxing history to win titles in 4 different weight classes. A true heavy hitter, he bulldozed his way through the elite of the fight game. Now, it's time to appreciate the pure craft of a knockout artist who entered every battle locked and loaded. Born in 1958 as one of 9 children, Thomas Hearns grew up in the heart of American industry, Detroit. The Motor City had once produced Joe Louis, arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time. A young black kid named Tommy watched the magic of Muhammad Ali and started his boxing journey in a church gym. Just 3 years later, he was taken under the wing of legendary trainer Emmanuel Stewart, a sharp-eyed coach who would go on to mold 40 world champions. Most of these kids don't have fathers, and I guess I ended up being a father figure to more than a few of them, Stewart once said. Hearns himself credited Emmanuel for giving him the confidence he lacked. Once a shy child who didn't believe much in himself, Tommy found purpose through boxing. He didn't let his mentor down. In 1977, he won the prestigious Golden Gloves tournament and, at just 19, stepped into the world of professional boxing. By then, Hearns' right hand had become a weapon of mass destruction. He turned knockouts into a routine, earning the nickname the Motor City Cobra from Detroit newspapers. But Tommy had a preference. He liked being called the Hitman. His elite boxing skills were backed by an insane wingspan, nearly 2 meters, making him a nightmare for any welterweight at 147 pounds. Veteran Eddie Gazzo, with a 39-5 record, quickly realized from the opening bell that getting close was his only option. Turn out, getting close to the Hitman was hazardous to your health, as was sharing the ring with him, period. In November of '79, in what some joked was a battle for the best afro, Tommy faced a lively opponent in Mike Colbert. By round 2, the Hitman adjusted his sights, hammered the body, and began hunting the head with his signature power shots. A sneaky lead uppercut set up a crushing short right hook. Colbert, tough as nails, got back up and made it to the bell. But starting in round 3, Hearns let loose with his main weapon. He was always ready to counter on pullbacks and didn't mind unloading the clip at close range. Credit to Colbert, he didn't fold under the artillery. He kept getting up after knockdowns and finished the 30-minute beatdown on his feet. With 28 wins, 26 by knockout, Hearns finally earned a title shot in August 1980. The WBA belt was held by Pepino Cuevas, a dominant Mexican champion who had defended his crown 11 times over 4 years. 10 of those challengers were knocked out cold. Right out the gate, Tommy landed a left hook to let Cuevas know who ran the ring. Then came the automatic fire, both hands blazing. After resetting to gauge distance, the Hitman fired the kill shot. With a final, devastating blow, the 21-year-old Hearns became the new WBA champion and the pride of Detroit. The young king celebrated with a brand new Corvette, but he didn't duck challengers. Veteran Randy Shields, who'd faced legends, managed to rattle Hearns with a shot to the back of the head, though the ref didn't count it. Tommy just smiled and shook it off. That was Shields' only highlight in 12 rounds. With a loaded left hand, Hearns kept the pressure on, firing sharp combos and unleashing hell in bursts. His jab kept pushing Shields back, forcing him into bad exchanges. Every time Tommy landed, it echoed through the arena. After taking nearly 200 clean shots, Shields finally quit on his stool. For Hearns' third title defense, promoters lined up Pablo Baez, physically a mirror image of the champ. Hearns opened with body shots before shifting the attack upstairs. Hearns' long-range crosses fired with sniper precision. That extended lead hand was a warning. Heavy artillery incoming. As Baez fought to survive, Sugar Ray Leonard, watching ringside, remained unimpressed. So Tommy offered a little preview of what their future fight might look like. Classic boxing, clean, sharp straight shots, sealed the deal. The Hitman improved to 32 wins with 30 knockouts. Only one thing left: unify the titles. The WBC title belonged to Sugar Ray Leonard, Olympic gold medalist from Montreal and the face of boxing in the 1980s. Sugar moved with lightning speed, fencing his opponents with finesse. Once he'd sized you up, Leonard could knock you out with either hand. His footwork was surgical. It felt like he teleported into range. A year earlier, he'd been stunned by Roberto Duran, but schooled the Panamanian legend in the rematch. He followed that with 2 more stoppage wins. Then, in September 1981, the undisputed welterweight crown was on the line. In front of 23,000 fans, Hearns, the knockout artist, claimed the center of the ring with stiff jabs, mixing in rights to the body. Leonard floated like Ollie, always moving, always stinging back. No one could dodge his signature feint followed by a blistering combo. On top of that, his reflexes were unreal and his counterpunching was razor sharp. By the end of round 3, Leonard had taken the lead, opening up and trading punches. But Tommy seized the moment, mixing shots upstairs and down. Over the next couple rounds, Hearns was sharper, perhaps playing with fire a bit too early. Round 6, Leonard opened with an overhand right, then made Hearns' legs dance with a crushing left hook. Rocked but not broken, the Hitman fired back in a wild shootout. But Leonard's body shots took a toll. Hearns had to hang on till the bell. In round 7, Sugar Ray won the jab battle and absorbed Hearns' power with new confidence, now playing the role of the aggressor. Leonard planted his feet in the center and started hunting for openings, setting up power punches. Hearns made it to the bell, and in his corner, Emmanuel Stewart told him to go back to basics, jab and move. Tommy listened. To everyone's surprise, he flipped Leonard's own tactics from earlier, circling on light feet and flicking out the lead hand. That change in style won the judges back. Heading into the old-school round 13, Hearns held a solid lead on all 3 scorecards. With swollen eyes nearly shut, Sugar Ray realized he had nothing to lose. He unloaded his trademark combo. Hearns, suddenly reliving his worst memories, couldn't slip the onslaught this time. Still, he somehow got to his feet, fighting back on pure instinct. But now, the hunter had become the hunted. Even the break between rounds didn't help. Leonard landed another hook, and the referee stepped in to save what was left of Hearns' consciousness. Voted the best fight of 1981, it was about full of twists and turns. The 22-year-old Hearns took away a painful lesson. The fans demanded a rematch, but it would have to wait. Sugar Ray suffered a serious eye injury. In the meantime, Hearns decided to stop torturing his body with weight cuts and moved up to light middleweight at 154 pounds. In his new division, Hearns didn't lose an ounce of power. He picked up 3 straight wins and, by December 1982, earned a shot at the title. The belt belonged to Wilfred Benitez, a defensive genius nicknamed El Radar. The Puerto Rican prodigy became a world champion at just 17, racked up 44 wins, and had recently defeated Roberto Duran. That night, Benitez's cat-like reflexes gave the Hitman real trouble, turning him from a sniper into more of a wild machine gun. But Hearns found his rhythm. He adjusted to the awkward style, focused on the body, and landed the more telling shots in nearly every round. After 45 minutes of tactical warfare, the judges rightfully gave the decision to Detroit's own. Hearns was back on top of the boxing world. Detroit needs heroes, one fan said. We don't have many role models. That's why we need someone like him. After successfully testing the waters at 160 pounds and defending his belt, the Hitman set his sights on undisputed middleweight king Marvin Hagler. But first, he had to go through a living legend, Roberto Duran. The Hands of Stone from Panama had held titles in 3 divisions and knocked out 58 opponents in his 77 wins. He beat the best, and when he lost, it was always on his own terms. Duran had narrowly lost to Hagler in his last fight. In June 1984, he challenged Hearns. Tommy didn't waste time with a stare down. He got straight to business. Using his huge reach advantage, Hearns kept Duran at range, studied him, then pulled the trigger by the end of round 1. He went from body to head, wounding the Panamanian legend. Duran, who had never been knocked out before, was saved by the bell. But Duran was so shaken, he walked to the wrong corner. In round 2, Hearns kept him locked in the sights. That night, his aim was perfect. His hand never wavered. Hearns dropped Duran with a trademark overhand right, delivering one of the greatest knockouts of his career. 3 months later, he took on Fred Hutchings. The undefeated contender had a solid chin, until Hearns' jab cracked it within a minute. Then came the right hand. First, Hutchings' mouthpiece hit the canvas. Then he hit it twice. Hearns' left hook was landing at will, along with his stiff jab and laser-guided cross. By round 3, Hutchings had taken too much punishment. His corner wisely called it off. In April 1985, Las Vegas hosted the highly anticipated showdown between Hearns and the undisputed middleweight king, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, a man who lived up to his nickname. The Newark-born bruiser had racked up 60 wins and 11 title defenses, teaching bloody lessons in the ring. No one could withstand his signature punch combinations off the shuffle step, or his rare gazelle punch, where he literally launched both feet off the canvas with full force. Hagler skipped the warm-up and immediately launched rear hand shots, switching stances to take Hearns' head off. Tommy responded with footwork, but still chose a slugfest over strategy. In a clash between two born knockout artists, it was clear from the start, no one was planning to win on points. What happened in the ring surpassed even the wildest expectations. From the opening bell, Marvin charged forward like a tank, forcing Tommy to throw bombs on the retreat. But Marvin's chin was legendary. No one had ever even rocked him. He boldly walked Hearns down, daring him to do damage. Hagler opened round 2 with a long right cross. Hearns tried to stop the magician with sharp lefts and angles, but Marvin's bald dome deflected everything like armor. He came right back with thudding hooks. Constantly switching stances, Hagler never let Hearns settle. And the pace he set, it drained Tommy's gas tank with every passing second. Round 3, Hagler started an orthodox stance, countered a jab, ate a few to close the distance, and then uncorked a signature hook, catching the fleeing hitman flush. That signature shot rocked Hearns, wiping the smurf from his face. Then came something rarely seen in boxing, Hagler's Superman punch. Not only did Hearns eat Marvin's concrete right hand, but during an uppercut attempt, Tommy actually broke his own hand on Hagler's titanium chin. That's how tough the legends of the 80s were. The opening 3 minutes of this instant classic were named Round of the Year, and the fight itself, despite being short, remains one of the greatest in middleweight history. Losing to the best fighter of the era didn't end the career of 26-year-old Thom Hearns. Instead, he took a year off, adjusted to the weight class, and returned to face unbeaten prospect James Shuler, 22-0 and a former World Cup amateur champ. From the opening bell, Shuler found himself under a barrage of snapping jabs. Hearns controlled the range, ripped shots to the liver, and began dialing up the right hand upstairs. Hearns shut off the lights with a pinpoint cross in under a minute, winning a regional title and punching his ticket back to the big stage. Sadly, just a week later, Shuler died in a motorcycle accident. At the funeral, Tommy gave Shuler's mother the belt he had won. It was buried with the fallen fighter. Hearns then delivered an emotional eulogy to honor his former opponent. In June 1986, Hearns trimmed down to fight once again at 154 pounds. His opponent, Mark Metal, must have forgotten his body armor. The hitman brought his guns. After 7 grueling rounds, Metal told his corner he couldn't see. The damage was done. Tommy closed the chapter on his natural weight class with a statement win, then jumped 2 divisions up to light heavyweight, 175 pounds. There, he was greeted by WBC champ Dennis Andrews, a heavy-handed British slugger from Guyana who loved to trade and had true knockout power. Even in the light heavyweight division, Hearns' long reach, those tentacle-like arms, pierced through defenses. And the man was no glass giant. His chin held up. Tommy stayed patient, kept baiting with pullbacks, and punished every mistake. In round 6, the plan worked perfectly. Hearns slipped a jab, textbook style, then fired a brutal right. Andrews got up and fought back, like every great champ of that era, swinging wild for 4 more rounds. It was a chaotic storm of knockdowns and comebacks. But when Andrews' body could no longer keep up, the ref stepped in. Hearns had done it. Another dominant win, and now a champion in his 3rd weight class. Meanwhile, the middleweight landscape had shifted dramatically. After the epic clash between Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler, the WBC middleweight belt became vacant. Hearns was matched with Juan Roldan, nicknamed Molo, a tough Argentinian veteran with a 65-3 record. He copied Hagler's all-pressure style, but overlooked one key difference. Hagler had a granite chin. Roldan didn't have that chin. In round 2, he charged in again with the same reckless aggression. The fight kept its wild tempo, but as Hearns began to slow just slightly, the relentless Roldan started finding openings. Roldan even stole round 3 on pure grit. But as the fight began slipping away, Hearns bit down and brawled back, and it paid off. He went back to his punishing body work, roasting Roldan's ribs until the Argentine dropped his hands. Then came the signature knockout. At 29 years old, Thom Hearns made history, the first man to win world titles in 4 different weight divisions. Even a retired former champ showed up to congratulate him. How do you even celebrate something like this? Hearns said, "I'm so happy, but I don't know what to do next. No one's ever done this before. Not even the 2 guys who beat me, Hagler and Leonard. I'm guessing they're watching and itching for a rematch. I want that too." Back home in Detroit, Tommy was treated like a national hero. On stage, he publicly thanked his mother for her unwavering support. "Thank you, Mom, for always being in my corner." Hearns stayed at middleweight, 160 pounds, and up next was Ron Barkley. On paper, he didn't look like a major threat, but he had real power in both hands. Hearns opened with bombs to the head and body, tested the overhand, and welcomed heavy exchanges. He slipped punches and countered with his signature shot, then followed up with that sharp jab. But Barkley kept walking through it all, waiting for the chance to land his left hook. He absorbed serious punishment to stay in position for one big shot. The ring turned into a war zone. At one point, it felt like Barkley's liver might be cooked, but he was taking all that pain for a reason. Then suddenly, Hearns got caught and dropped. Stunned, he barely beat the count. He was in no shape to launch a comeback. Hearns stayed in the danger zone a second too long, and Barkley landed the lucky bullet. It was a shocking upset, later named Upset of the Year. For Hearns, bouncing back after a setback was nothing new. 5 months later, he stepped into the ring again, this time moving up to super middleweight, 168 pounds, to fight for the vacant WBO title. His opponent was James Kinchin, boasting a 43-4 record. The Hitman went back to basics, dominated with the jab, mixed in the right hand, and took control of the first 3 rounds. Everything looked under control until it wasn't. Tommy got clipped by looping hooks, and suddenly the fight turned into a thriller. He was now fighting to survive. But after the break, he came out calm, like nothing happened. He regained control and started picking shots on the move. He had moments where he slowed down, but he always fired back. In the later rounds, Hearns pushed harder, swayed the judges, and claimed his 5th world title in a 5th weight division. But the crown jewel of the super middleweight division was still around the waist of Sugar Ray Leonard. A rematch was inevitable. In the 8 years since their first fight, Ray had only fought 4 times due to an eye injury, but he won them all, including a controversial split decision over Marvin Hagler. The long-awaited rematch was scheduled for June 1989, and the fighters were well compensated. Leonard got $13 million, Hearns $11 million. But just 2 days before the fight, tragedy struck. Tommy's 22-year-old brother, Henry Hearns, shot and killed his girlfriend, using a gun registered to Tommy. My brother. And what happened to him? I was devastated when I heard. I didn't know what to do. My heart was broken, Hearns later said. Still, he didn't pull out of the fight. Instead, he came in more focused than ever, ready to avenge the first loss of his career. Ray tried to force the action, looking to catch Tommy with power shots, just like he had in their first encounter. Hearns stayed patient, sniping to the body with his jab, setting up the right hand. In round 3, the plan paid off. He beat Leonard to the punch with a clean right and went in for the finish as Sugar Ray wobbled. Sugar Ray spent the rest of the round against the ropes, then finally fired back in the closing seconds. After the break, Leonard kept swinging, looping hooks and heavy shots in the clinch. The exchanges heated up in the center of the ring. In open space, Hearns looked sharper. He let his hands go, even at the cost of defense. But when Leonard pressed forward, Tommy shelled up and waited for the bell, occasionally answering with stiff shots of his own. Second half of the fight, Hearns evened the score. A left hook rocked Leonard, and Tommy let loose with a full combination on a stationary target. Sugar Ray weathered the storm, waited for a lull, then switched his focus to Hearns' body. Meanwhile, Tommy reloaded and went back to firing long-range crosses. The tension was thick now. The momentum swung back and forth. Before the championship rounds, cameras cut to Roberto Duran, a symbol of what kind of war was coming. They weren't wrong. Hearns measured the range and landed 3 consecutive rights, dropping Leonard to the canvas. Sugar Ray was hurt, but not done. Behind on the cards, he started swinging for the fences, and the rest of the fight turned into a forge of fire, hotter than a medieval blacksmith shop. After 12 brutal rounds, the judges called it a draw. But with 2 knockdowns in Hearns' favor and an even split of rounds, most boxing experts felt Tommy had been robbed. "I'm going home now," Hearns said. "I'll be thinking about you every day, unless I'm distracted by some women." "Ray, what do you say? You think this guy's had enough or not?" "I think we're both worn out," Leonard replied. "You want a rematch, Tommy? Maybe we should both go home, think about it, and decide later." Years later, Ray would finally admit Hearns had beaten him that night. By the early 90s, the 32-year-old hitman kept moving up in weight and tearing through everything in his path. He earned another title shot at light heavyweight, this time against the undefeated Virgil Hill, 30-0, with 10 successful title defenses. Hill held his own in the jab exchanges, but couldn't match Hearns in heavy firepower. Tommy ripped combinations, landed that ever-dangerous cross, and handed Hill his first loss by unanimous decision. That brought Hearns' record to 50 wins, 3 losses, and world titles in 5 weight divisions, from 147 to 175 pounds. In March 1992, he got the chance to avenge his upset loss to Ron Barkley. From the opening bell, it was clear these two still didn't like each other. In round 3, Hearns rocked his rival, nearly turning the tide. But Barkley erased all that momentum with one crushing punch. The two stubborn warriors spent the next 36 minutes trading fire in one of the most relentless slugfests of the era. The judges rightfully gave the win to Barkley, who remained the one fighter Tommy could never conquer. Hearns' peak years were behind him. His reflexes dulled, and the damage from his wars started catching up. Still, when fed a steady diet of second-tier opponents, he performed with the same old flash and flair. Over the next 13 years, Hearns went 11-1, ballooning close to 100 kilograms. In a scene straight out of Rocky II, the aging slugger captured a minor title at cruiserweight, his final weight class. Outside the ring, Detroit's hitman didn't exactly live like a reclusive Agent 47. He dabbled in pro wrestling, even getting into a promo feud with Bret the Hitman Hart, and made cameo appearances on TV. Hearns fought for the last time in 2006 at age 47, the final member of the Four Kings to retire. Despite once having a massive bank account at the height of fame, his love of luxury and generosity toward his large extended family led to financial troubles. He was forced to auction off belongings, including the 1957 Chevy he'd bought after winning his first title and a 46-foot boat. In 2012, Hearns was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, fittingly alongside Sugar Ray Leonard. The once heated rivalry had mellowed into genuine friendship. Even back in the war-torn 80s, Hearns' left hand had a reputation as an impenetrable wall, but behind it lurked the royal cannon, that monstrous right. Hearns' legacy was more than just power. He was cold, calculating, and willing to go through hell to win. Marching through weight divisions, he set a once unthinkable record and remained, above all else, a man loyal to his craft. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and drop a like. See you soon. Good luck.